and welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to talk about the process of selecting an egg donor, and I'm really excited to update you on our journey. Should I record like those other YouTube girls where they like pop their collar? What do you guys think? No. The answer is no, Jess. We're not that kind of channel. Anyway, so now that we have that weirdness out of the way. If you missed my last video, I will have it linked up here, so you can go watch that video first and then come back and watch this one, and then you can understand our entire journey up to this point. It discussed everything about how we had to accept the fact that we needed an egg donor or possibly to move into adoption because IVF just wasn't working for us. My husband and I have been struggling with infertility for 3 years, so if you're interested in following our journey, please make sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss an update. Without further ado, let's get into it. So for our clinic, everything I'm talking about is what our clinic, fertility clinic, recommends. Your clinic might do something differently or your process might be different, but the first step that we had to do before we could look at donor profiles, before we could even proceed with anything, is Zach and I had to meet with a therapist. And they did have a designated resident therapist, family counselor that they, refer you to. So we met with her and she just asked us questions about our past, about our family, history, about how Zach and I's relationship is, what makes us happy, we didn't dig into anything too deep. It was very surface level, just kind of learning about us. And so that was a really easy process. The meeting only took about 45 minutes. So once that was done, she sent a letter of approval to our fertility clinic. Once the clinic received that letter, then they wanted Zach to do genetic testing. And basically what that test is for is just to see if he's carrying any genetic disorders or if he could be the carrier of something, because what they don't want to do is match us up with somebody who is also a carrier of the same thing, because then if you have two people who are carriers of a disease or something like that, when you put them together, it's more likely that that child will have that disease. So they just want to compare the two profiles between our egg donor and Zach and just make sure that everything looks okay. He just had to go in and we had to pay like a $250 fee to get that done because it wasn't covered through insurance. But then once that was done, we had to wait 2 to 3 weeks for his results. Having to sit and wait for results for 2 to 3 weeks before you can even look at these donor profiles, it just really sucks. And so Zach and I are kind of impatient when it comes to stuff like that, and we were just really excited to start reading these profiles of these women to hope that we can find somebody. And so that waiting period wasn't very fun. Then the next step was to review the egg donor profiles, and this was really fun. It's a strange experience. These girls were giving us a resume of their life and their history, and we were not judging them, but we were grading them on ooh, this one was a 4.0 student. This one was, varsity all 4 years in high school. And it feels really odd to be grading human beings, if you know what I mean. Do I want my child to be athletic? Do I want them to possibly be a good student? Do I want them to play an instrument? You just kind of start thinking about, if I pick this woman and we use Zach's DNA and combine it, what outcome are we gonna get? So it just was really weird. But what you do before you even get profiles is you have to give the clinic your criteria. So you get to say, we only want, brunettes with blue eyes who played sports and maybe optionally played music. And then they'll go through the profiles and they will pull somebody out and give it to you. So you get to be really specific with what you're looking for. I will be honest that the egg donor profiles and finding somebody you like has been the most difficult part so far. And let me just explain, because it sounds like that would be so easy just to find somebody, but let me just explain why that is. So depending on your fertility clinic, they may or may not have a large number of applicants that fit your criteria. So it's really easy to be like, this girl who I pick, she better check all these boxes. She better be the most perfect person. You know, like, I just can't wait. Like, they have to have those requirements. You know what I mean? Like, you're not willing to part with anything. And then you start getting profiles and you start realizing that girl A has 3 of the things on your 5 checkbox list. Girl B has 2 things on your checklist that maybe girl A didn't have that you were hoping for. Maybe you'll even be lucky enough to find somebody that checks all 5 checkboxes. What we're coming to find is that it's just not reality. There may be somebody out there who checks all those boxes, but that doesn't mean that they want to donate their eggs. You just have to be really flexible with what you are willing to give up and what is like a hard no. So for example, we found a donor that we really liked. She had a lot of similar traits and her looks, at least what was described to us, matched me pretty good, and we were feeling really good about it. Like, we were like, yes, I think this is the one. Like, she's ticked off all these boxes. We're so excited. So we reach out to the clinic. Then they come back a couple days later and they were like, hey, I'm sorry to inform you, doesn't want to donate eggs right now. She wants to wait until next November or December. So we would literally have to wait almost a year. Then my fear was, okay, if we put all of our eggs, see what I did there? Put all of our eggs in one basket or in one girl, and she's taking a year off, who is to say that in next December, she's gonna want to proceed? So we could wait a year for this perfect girl, but she still has all the power to say, you know what, I'm done with egg donation. I'm not comfortable with doing anymore. And then we have nobody, and we waited an entire year and wasted time. I hope that you understand where I'm coming from. So then, since that egg donor wanted to wait, I just thought, you know what, let's keep looking at profiles and maybe we'll find somebody else in the meantime. The second girl we found, another decent option. There was only a couple things on our list of wants that she didn't have, but it wasn't a deal breaker for us, no big deal. So we were like, okay, let's reach out to the clinic about this girl. So we waited an entire week, and I followed up with them again, just saying, hey, we still haven't heard back. And then she got back to us and said she doesn't want to donate eggs anymore. So then Zach and I were like, oh my God. Like, it just feels like it's not working out. It feels like we are gonna have to wait a year or longer, because like I said, what if girl number 1 doesn't want to donate eggs after the year break? So that's where we're at right now. Please pray for us. Please pray that God gives us some direction, some clarity, some advice, just anything. If he could like strike the earth with a note in fire, like in our backyard, telling us exactly what we need to do, that would be amazing. So if you guys could pray for that miracle, I would love it. But anyway, all jokes aside, it is a very difficult and slightly frustrating process right now. I'm sure this isn't everyone's experience, so I don't want to scare you if you're going, or if you're considering using an egg donor. I just want to be real and let you know that this is a possibility. Just because you're ready to proceed with an egg donor doesn't mean in 2 months you're gonna find somebody. I've really come to terms with the process, and I know there's a plan, and I'm really excited to finally pick an egg donor and be able to move on with the IVF cycle with her. In probably one of my next videos, I will talk about cost for an egg donor because it's not cheap. But yeah, I think it's a really beautiful gift that other women are willing to provide, and I know there's a million opinions out there about egg donation, and you know, I think it's a really beautiful thing and a very kind thing for somebody to do for somebody else. So anyway, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up because it really supports my channel and it shows me that you care. Mwah.